His hockey show. I'm the Trev. It's too sweet. Anyway, back to the retired numbers. And I made the executive decision. While this one isn't the first number retired in Pittsburgh, technically, the first one that was already retired, was already put back into circulation at the time this one was retired. So by mere technicality, are we doing this one first? Because that number, which I am working on, by the way, was re-retired later. So based on date, we're doing the number 21, which belonged to Michel Briere. Let's talk about it. So Briere's career began on June 12th, 1969, after he was drafted in the 3rd round, or 26th overall, depending on how you want to look at it, by the Pittsburgh Penguins. You gotta remember, to be 26th overall in the 3rd round, the league was a much smaller team, or you had a few smaller teams at that time. So, while we have 32 rounds now, there was only about 10 to 12 before the 70s. Before he was drafted, while playing in the QMJHL, he managed to put up 320 points in 71 games for Shawinigan. It's a French-Canadian center who can score a lot of goals. Where have you heard that one before? It's said, according to Penguins GM at the time, Jack Riley, that during contract negotiations, Briere made the claim that he'd be playing for Pittsburgh for 20 years. And I'm sure that would have been a dream scenario for the Penguins to have a highly touted scoring prospect play his entire career for them. And this was only his rookie year. We'll continue. Briere would score his first NHL goal on November 1st, 1969 against the Minnesota North Stars. And in the 76 games he played in the 1969-70 season, Briere finished 3rd in team scoring, putting up 12 goals and 33 assists for 44 points. And the Penguins would advance to the playoffs for this season, and in the 10 games Briere played for Pittsburgh, he would lead the team in scoring with 8 points, including the first overtime goal in Penguins history, where he scored not only the game winner, but also the series clincher against the Oakland Seals. And while 3 of his 5 goals scored during the 1970 playoffs were game winners, the Penguins would come up short in advancing to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they would lose the series to the eventual Stanley Cup finalists, the St. Louis Blues. And while Briere would go on to be named the Penguins Rookie of the Year, as every team hands out their own individual awards, Briere would receive no votes for the Calder Memorial Trophy in 1970, which was won by Tony Esposito. But at this time, many of the scouts and many of the experts have predicted that Briere would have developed into a top NHL player, drawing comparisons to the likes of Phil Esposito and Bobby Clarke, who are now in the Hall of Fame. So something to chew on for that one, I guess. Now, it was during the 1970 offseason where he returned home and looked forward to training for the next season, on top of, getting married that summer too. But on May 15th, 1970, Briere and 2 other passengers would be involved in a single vehicle accident. And while the 2 passengers would have relatively minor injuries, Briere himself would suffer the brunt of the impact with major head trauma. And after 4 brain surgeries, Briere would be given a 50-50 chance to live, despite being in a coma. During the 1970-71 season, the Pittsburgh Penguins would take along Briere's equipment bag and his jersey on road trips, possibly for a good luck charm of sorts. And while the thought was very inspiring, the Penguins would end up missing the playoffs. And on April 4th, 1971, 9 days after the end of the 70-71 season, and after almost a year in a coma, Briere ended up passing away from his injuries. Now, while his number 21 wasn't retired immediately by the team, it was never worn by any player since. Instead, a framed jersey and his picture were hung in the Igloo Club, which was located inside the Pittsburgh Civic Arena. as that was really the only visible indication that it was unofficially retired. Upon his passing, the Penguins Rookie of the Year award, which Briere won in 1970, was renamed the Michel Briere Memorial Rookie of the Year award, and in 1972, the QMJHL, where Briere played his junior hockey, renamed their MVP award to the Michel Briere Memorial Trophy. And then finally, on January 5th, 2001, Briere's number 21 would officially be retired by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Better late than never, right? But that's the story of the number 21 hanging up in Pittsburgh. So here's my opinion. It sucks when you have a story like this attached to a number. Especially when it's a guy in his rookie season. On top of his own boast that he was going to play for Pittsburgh for 20 years, his junior numbers indicated he had score written all over him. So it's more or less, it just sucks to see players who are so full of potential and haven't even hit the prime of their career yet just be taken away like that. It sucks to make. And like I said, this isn't the first video or retired number we've done on a player who couldn't show his potential due to the ultimate reason. They don't get any easier to talk about, really. But either way, that's one of the two numbers retired in Pittsburgh. It's another one of Trev's hockey shows. Oh, thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate it, especially if you're here. It's great for both of us. So let's keep this good thing going. Let me know you're here. Hit that thumbs up. If you want that red button, you know what it does. Do it up. Socials, they're in the description down below. Move forward. Tomorrow's free agency day, so expect something. I'm not sure what yet, but expect probably two. But either way, in the meantime, in between time, you're looking for more videos from Trev. Later.